honour the development and ongoing settlement of Waikite Valley. Firstly, could you please stand for a moment's silence for the loved ones who have gone before. Thank you very much. Waikite Valley, the valley where dreams come true. In the foreword of Wally Hope's book, Rolly Burling described the 1951 Waikite Valley as wild, barren and isolated. Today, it doesn't matter which direction you come into Waikite Valley, the valley is flourishing. Firstly, I would just like to especially welcome the Hossack family. We are honoured to have so many of the Hossack family here with us today. It is approximately 75 years since the original Jim Hossack came to this place, Waikite Valley. We are honoured to have so many Hossack people here today. We'll move straight on to the unveiling. And I would invite Pam Hossack to come forward and cut the ribbon, and a representative of each of the first settlers' families to unveil the memorial. Thank you very much. Obviously you can see we've got a magnificent sculpture. As I've introduced Alan before, you can take the girl out of Waikite Valley, but you can't take Waikite Valley out of the girl. Delwyn.
Okay. This must be like being a movie star where you've got a light shining on you. So it's my pleasure today to welcome the creators of our very special memorial, Jim Stone and Murray Matuska. So I'd also like to acknowledge Barbara, our nephew Ronnie Parker and Murray's grandson Gary Mansfield, who all supported this project. Jim, would you like to just stand up so they know who you are? Jim was a stonemason who created and built the base of our memorial. We're absolutely thrilled with the result, and we really appreciate what you've done for us. Okay, so Murray, do you want to come and stand by me? You may not know who you are. Alright, so Murray, I'd like to introduce you to my brother Murray, and he designed and created our sculpture. So Murray came to Waikite Valley Murray came to Waikite Valley with our parents, Doug and Alma Harrison, when he was 15. Murray and I have different fathers and the same mother. Murray loved Waikite right from the very beginning, and it's played a huge part in his life. He fell in love and married Barbara, I think it's 60 years ago next week, but they won't tell me definitely. And Barbara came from Nakuru and had very close connections with Waikite Valley as well. So, Murray and Barbara first worked on the Timalui Lands and Survey block. I'm not sure when it was, but I know it was about the time when George Wilder, who was a famous New Zealand criminal, he was around because he was out. He had escaped, and they said he was in Timalui Road. So I was terrified to go to Murray and Barbara. So I know it was around that time. Later they share milk on our farm, on our family farm, which for 7 years, and it was a mile up there. I know I used to have to walk a mile to school, so it was up there. And then later after that, Murray managed the Waikite Lands and Survey block for 3 years before they moved to Taupo. Got that right? Ever since I was tiny, Murray was an artist. He drew on everything. Every bit of paper in our house had a drawing of trees, mountains, bulldozers and deer. So if you went to write a letter, Murray would have always got to the pad first. He's a self-taught artist and he paints in his own style. He's done hundreds of paintings for people. And he's got a specialty now where he paints saw blades and cream pans. And they've got beautiful country scenes. So a few years ago, I said to Murray I didn't have a painting, and would he paint something for me? And he painted a scene from our Waikite farm, so that's very special. When Murray first became a sculptor, he made concrete animals, and he specialised in deer, but he made all kinds of other animals as well. So the one that I remember the most was he made a horse, a life-size horse, that was sent to the bottom of the South Island on a trailer. And it looked so real that people were complaining because someone had a horse tied on a trailer. I think I'm right in saying it ended up on television, and there was a big kerfuffle. He also made Ferdinand the bull, who, for the people who owned the original Ferdinand, who was the mascot for the Taranaki rugby team. He moved on to having his sculptures bronzed, and they've been enjoyed. He's made many wonderful sculptures, and they've been enjoyed immensely by people from both New Zealand and overseas. And he's now passing on this skill to his grandson Gary. Gary works alongside of him a lot of the time. His work, I'm very, very proud to be welcoming Murray and Barbara here today.
He must be a hell of a guy, that guy. I was going to say that cliche, could everybody hear me, but I heard a guy say that once at a deer farmers meeting, and a guy about 3 rows back stood up and said, "Well, I can hear you, but I'm glad he changed places with someone who couldn't." Gentlemen, thank you so much for that. It was a bit over the top, I thought, but yeah, she explained it fairly well. And I'd like to thank the class of '68 who thought of the idea. I didn't think of it, they did. And they said to me, "We'd like you to make something in bronze," but they didn't want it to be an animal. So I thought, what the hell am I going to make? And I suddenly thought about an HD5. That's an HD5. Ellis Chalmers Crawler tractor that was manufactured about 1950. I think they sold for about £5,000 pound at the time. They were about 40 horsepower, and they had a 2-stroke motor in them, one up, one down, the GM Detroit, and I drove one of these, and I have a wonderful story to tell about that. The guy George Verity came from Tirau, and he had 5 of those, brand new. And one Saturday he asked me to drive one, because they had a bit of a photo thing going on up Earthquake Flat Road that used to be. I wish it was still there. That was a lovely drive through there. Anyway, so I'm on one of these going along, you see, and it was brand new, and I'm harrowing on the side. I haven't been through there for many years, but it's all closed up now, but it was quite a steep sidling. I was going along close to the road, these guys were filming, and as I turned to go uphill, and got out of the dust, and at the top I turned to come back this way, and I looked behind me and I had no harrows on behind. So it dropped off somewhere, so I had to eat crow and go back and find the arrows. But anyway, I did. Wonderful little tractor. Yeah, I came here when I was 15, and I think we drew farm number 1 down. It was the biggest of the 7. We had to have a few sheep, and when we pulled up at the gate, we were met by the farm manager, who's Jim Hosick. He had an old square black car. An old square black one, and he got out of the car, and he was a short guy, and I thought, well, this will be quick, because I'm sure Mum and Doug won't accept this farm, because I'd never seen hills before. We were from Tiara, and I thought, oh good, no, we'll be going home and back to my girlfriend that we called winking at a girl on the bus, a girlfriend. Back at Tiara. So anyway, but unfortunately for me at the time, they accepted the farm. And ladies and gentlemen, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. We went up the back of the farm, and I can remember this like it was yesterday. We went up the back of the farm in the old car, and we looked over into the valley where the Coopers and the Burlings and the Wallaces were, up against the Pyroars. And I thought there must have been some bulls over there. And Jim Hosick said to me, I hope you like hunting, he said, because that's stag falling up there. And I became hooked, and I still am. Barbara and I have a deer farm in Taupo, and it all goes back to my love of the animal when I first got here. But anyway, from the Hot Creek to Timanui Bush was all tussock and tea tree and wild horses, and all the way through that. And from our place, which is, Delwyn said, about a mile up here, to Taupo was all fern. The fern was that high, and over here, the horses must have eaten a lot of that fern because it was mainly tussock, what I remember. And so I'd been there a little while, and I was like a square peg in a round hole, because there were 7 settlers there, and they were all only about 10 years older than me, and I think I fell in love with all the wives the first couple of days. Anyway, after a while, Jim Hosick came to see me, and he said, "Righto, I'm going to put you to work." He said, "Come down to the wool shed," which I did, and he said, "See that horse? That's your horse. Her name was Kitty." I can remember pretty well, Kitty, and she taught me how to ride. I couldn't really ride till I got here. And after a while, he said to me, "Now, I want you to ride around all that country over there and pick up the dead sheep, pluck the dead sheep, and stand the ones on their backs up so they can get around." So I said, okay. So I rode this horse way the hell around there, and I learned how to trot, I learned how to canter, and then I learned how to gallop. And it was wonderful. And I didn't do the cowboy thing, but I had a rifle, and he told me I could take a rifle. And one day I was riding up the back here by, whose place was it? The Sandland, up the back there. And I came over the knob, and there was a stag standing beside the fence. And I could see him like it was yesterday. He was standing beside the fence, and when he saw me, he looked at me, and then he jumped the fence. I thought, oh God, gotta get one of those. So the first deer I shot was with Jim Wallace around on the back road there, and then I was with Jim for about, I don't know, time flies, probably 2 years. He was a wonderful, wonderful boss. And I look back at Jim Hossick over the years and I think, you know, he had all this. He developed all this. I know he had supervisors and he had contractors, but, you know, you've got to get the contractor in the right place at the right time to sow the seed. And that was Jim's job. And plus there was all the sheep and the cattle and the families of the people. Although really there was no families. There was only Jim and Dulcie down on the right there. And all the rest were huts until we came. So, but he had a hell of a job. But I look back on that and think, you know, what an amazing person he was. I remember I got dragged by a horse. I lost interest in Kitty, this horse I had, because she was quite a quiet horse, and I wanted something more adventurous. And they had there was a grey horse here, and he was a stargazer. And some of you that know horses will know what a stargazer is. It looks up in the air instead of looking forward, and you got to control it with the rein. So I wanted to get on that horse because he looked so stylish. He had white feet, and it looked beautiful. So anyway, I finally got on with this bloody this thing, and I was chasing some cattle along by coming towards the Waikite Road there, and we got into a gallop, the cattle beast and me. One of them broke, you see, and I was trying to head it off. So I'm galloping down the road towards the Tikopia turnoff, and there was a stockyard there in those days, and on that corner there. And the cattle beast moved out under my horse, tipped me off, and my left foot was stuck in the stirrup. And that mother dragged me from Tikopia Road right to the woolshed, which was just the other side of the creek that runs across under the road there. And it dragged me right down there, and I can still look up and see that big grey belly going, and it was full gallop. And when I got to the creek, I wasn't thinking about dying or anything because I was so stunned. And middle road. I hope I'm not boring you at this point. Anyway, the stirrup leather came out of the keeper, you know, the little keeper on the saddle?
Yeah.
Came out of there and dumped me on the road. So I couldn't walk, I crawled under the gate into the woolshed because the gate with all the sheep going out, it kind of wore a piece out. I crawled under, up to the office where Jim was, and he said, "What the hell's happened to you?" And I told him, I had no back on my shirt or anything, and he took me up to Dulcie, and she had a first aid kit, and she did what she could, and then he took me home, and I was kind of hung around for a couple of weeks, I'll tell you. So that was a pretty, and my mum, my dear mum, our dear mum, she got the stirrup. I actually bent the stirrup, and she got a copper, didn't she? And I got it at home there. And, I know this is getting a bit long, but geez, how do you talk about all these years in Waikite without all these little sorts of stories? And then I discovered other things from apart from deer, and one of them was that little yeah, I saw her at a dance one night, and I thought, geez, that's better than all the wives of Waikite and the deer. So she must have felt sorry for me because she married me not long after. And but as Delwyn said, but before I leave all this here, and this is also special to me, this Waikite Valley, and I remember one morning or one night Jim Hossick said to me, "I want you to go down Hossick's Road where the Swedes are, because the deer are eating all the bloody Swedes." And he said, we need that for the cattle. So could you get some guys and go down and have a bomb up? I said, yeah, great. So Buddy was there, and he said, oh, I wanted to go too. So him and I Ian Hossick. Ian Hossick and I got a couple of builder guys I knew at the time. We went down, we got up early in the morning, we went down Hossick Road and we parked, they had a little Morris car that 4 of us got into it. We drove down there and we stopped, and it was a misty morning. No wind, just a misty morning. And it was just this side of where Herdman were on the flat there. That's where the crop was, up against the Hot Creek. And the Hot Creek was flat, you know, that high. And anyway, we sneaked up over this little knob and we looked over the top. And I tell you what, we have a deer farm, as I said to you before, and I know what 100 deer looks like. And there would have been at least 100 deer there. It was an amazing sight. And they were mainly hinds and yearlings. And they were all just on this flat, you see. So I said to Paddy Ossick, or Ian Ossick, I said, load the ammo into this 10 mag, in a 303, you had a 10 mag, you just slip in and slip out. So I said, when I get through the 10 rounds, you load that one and give that to me, because I was hot, you see. I was going to get all these deer. Well, we opened up, and I don't remember getting one. One of the builders said he got one, but we couldn't find them. They all dived into this, I can still see them diving into this misty creek, the Hot Creek, and they went across it, and they all disappeared up into Timonui there. But that was a big mob of deer. I've seen a few big mobs of deer in my time in Waikite, but that run was really a biggie, and that's a story I'll never forget. So anyway, as I say, as Elvin said, we came back with share milk deer. We did the tennis thing, and the tennis club was very strong. And the principal at the time, Ken Howie and his wife Jeanette, they were the instigators of it all, and we played virtually 24 hours a day, didn't we, Bob? So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to bore you with any more stories about the early days, but I could talk all day about Waikite, and I would love to do that, but today's not the place. As I say, the class of '68 thought of this idea. It was a wonderful idea. Jim and I had a wonderful time. We came here about 5 times in the gym, and we're still talking. And when I made the HD5 at home there, as Delvin said, my grandson Gary, who's somehow he developed his skill, if there is such a thing, of making stuff, and I just wish he was here today, but he's playing rugby over in Pennydale. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to me. I know it's been hard going, but you're all troopers, and thank you so much for coming anyway.
Thank you very much, Murray. Murray tells a good story. He's told us many. We could be here all sometime. Yeah. Next on the program, I have got a copy. No doubt you've all opened the program and seen what Waikite Valley was like. And it's been an eye-opener for me, or reinvention of Waikite. And you can just imagine standing here and looking. And that was the farm of Waikite Valley that Jim Hossick was empowered with. And I can imagine that Jim Hossick would have driven up Hossick Road and got a better view to keep an eye on those workers. One of the guys who came later and who drove, I presume that he drove an Alice Chalmers.
Who is this?
Curly Elmiger.
Yes.
Has put in his apology for today. He was aiming to be here. Curly is in his early 90s?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So that moves us on to the next segment. Suzanne Tanner, Lee Cooper, is going to address us regarding the first settlers.
I don't think I can tell stories like Murray. And please bear with me. I have a teacher's voice and it's gone this week for 4 weeks. Our parents, when they came to Waikite Valley, were true pioneers because there was nothing. There was a fence around the 200 acres that our parents had as a farm. And they were very courageous and brave to come here to this bleak, bare land and begin a life as a farm owner. When I look around now, I think it's still bleak. I'm a city person now, and I still think it's bleak and bare, and it's changing even since last year. It's trees and fences and things gone missing, and our parents, when they came here, worked jolly hard. I never heard my father complain about the hard life that they had. They worked very hard to progress and improve land to make it into a profitable farm and make a lifestyle for themselves that I'm sure they didn't regret, because thinking back of the 7, I remember really happy times with all those families that we visited, they helped each other, and they never found anything too hard and never gave up. They helped each other no matter what it was, whether it was fencing, haymaking, milking cows, because when they first came there was only one cow shed and the cows were rotated around that one cow shed. And how many farmers will do that today? I'd hate to think them even trying to do it. We, as the children of those parents, had very rich lives because we were taught all kinds of skills. Skills, get up Susie, it's time to milk. You know, I was getting up at 5 o'clock and then riding a bike to school in the frost afterwards. Never complained, Dad just expected it of us and we did it. We had to help milking, we had to bring the cows home. That was one job I hated. Dad would send the dog to get the cows. I'd get out of sight of the house, and I'd ask the dog to go home. Go home. Didn't want the dog coming with me. Hated the dog. I still don't like dogs. We had to wash down the yards. We had to hoe thistles. God, you never would wanted to be naughty because you were given a hoe to go and hoe thistles. We had to put salt on ragwood for hours and hours on end. And every one of our families had a big vegetable garden, and so then you were topping and tailing peas or beans and shelling peas for hours on end as well. You were never lonely or bored. You didn't dare tell anyone you had nothing to do. And there was always the baking, the cakes and the biscuits that were always made. Community was foremost for our families. We visited each other, and that's where I think the rivalry of the sponge started. Because if we went to Mrs. Burling's, there was a sponge. If we went to the Hopes, there was a sponge. If we went to Harrison's, there was a sponge. Mum always had a sponge, and heaven help us if we touched it. And, you know, I can't be responsible. When I first married, I thought I'd make a sponge. It was a frisbee that went over the hedge. There were great days. We had those wonderful calf club days down here in the school grounds where all of us girls had new dresses. If you had more than one in the family, you had a red one, you had a blue, and you had a yellow, and they were all the same. Our mothers made those dresses for us. There were the gymkhana sports for those who were horsey. he didn't have a horse, but we borrowed a horse from newbies at one stage. And I wasn't very good with the horse. I could make it go forwards, but I could never turn it round and come back. Mum had to come down the paddocks many times to get the horse. And at the end I said, take it back, Mum, I don't want that horse. So I stuck to the bike. There were the socials and dances in the Wallace's Hall. You know, that used to be their house. And then we all got houses. We lived in those like sheds, car crates, and we never complained. I still remember, you know, I was 4 years old, remember the bath and the tin bath by the fire that heated the water for us. There was even church held in the Wallace's shed. And that was a great occasion. It was like a big day out to go to church. Our mums sewed those dresses. It was always a great occasion that you got a new dress. Christmas, birthdays, anything that was on in the valley, you had a new dress. The gala days. To fill the hall, each road held like stores, gala days, had to raise the money. And remember the rivalry, which road raised the most money. I still remember in Pole Glazers, they were all there with all the stalls of cakes, baking, sewing, and all those old kind of fair days. Unfortunately, you know, our parents worked so hard, and when they did have fun times, they had fun times, and we were always in awe of them, laughing and, you know, joking and dancing. And I think back, you know, even though it was hard, they were happy. I don't know if I could be as happy as they were. The hardships they had, and I never learnt the skills that they had either. They can't sew, they can't cook, they can't bake, they can't garden, and our parents did all those things. I don't know where I was, probably playing sport, I think, and somebody else got the job, maybe Lynette. I even can't make jam, so I wasn't a very good catch, I don't think. The weather was a trial here. I can remember walking from our place to Wallace's cream stand, having to stand there for the bus to come so I could go to Ngākuru school. I had a red hat on, always had to wear that hat so the bus driver saw me coming down the road if I walked too slow. And then we came here to Waikite School, and we just managed to be on the edge where the bus could go. Darwin only lived a mile away. We lived 2 miles, and the bus would only start picking people up if you were 2 miles away from the school. So Stevens's and our family were able to catch the bus. It's where the bus went first on our road. I remember the frosty mornings, and Mr. Howie would have us out here on this court in your rompers and a t-shirt, no shoes on your feet, and it's as cold as can be, frosty. No, you're doing physio first thing in the morning, 9 o'clock, and you didn't have an excuse like the children of today who always have colds or a sore leg. You just got on with it. And then I don't know why, I got sent to Hossack's place to stay. I don't know whether I'd been bad or what, I don't know, but I was in Form 1 and I had to bike from Hossack's to school. And when I got here, I was so frozen, I couldn't do any schoolwork anyway. I had to sit in the sick bay and keep warm. probably was suffering from hypothermia, but you know, as soon as I warmed up, I was out with everybody else. Those sacrifices that parents made to make the valley their home and homes for all of us were worth it, because I'm sure we're all better people for it. Some will have the skills that their parents had, some will have the knowledge that our parents had, and we've all, that I've heard, I don't think I've heard of anybody who hasn't done well in their life, and we all still coming back here. You know, even though you've left, you still keep coming back. And so Waikite, as Murray says, has a special place for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. Suzanne went through a list of things that she can't do. We've got 2 grandchildren in Tauranga, and they go to Suzanne's school. They're progressing very, very well. So there is Suzanne's mother, Maureen Cooper, taught at Waikite Valley School for some time. And as Suzanne pointed out, we've produced a lot of good people. After the first settlers, we have representatives here of 3 families. If I'm right, if I'm wrong, don't be afraid to tell me. We have 1953 is Jean Herdman. Last year we had our reunion, which initiated all of this. And for lunch we went over to, on the Sunday, we went over to the Waitap, over the hill to the Waitap. We're there having lunch, the phone rings. There's an urgent call. Nanny Jean's granddaughter is looking for Nana. She had turned up at her house. Nana was nowhere in sight. So we handed over the phone to Nana Jean. First time, it might have been the first time you went to the Waitap. And the next one is it the Bryans or the Martins? You were actually the same year, 1953? Yes. Tom, not Shirley Martin. Shirley and Bert, I think they were one of the sheep farmers in the district. Yeah. And wonderful pair, Bert and Shirley. Shirley was always leading the way for our activities at the hall. Taught us to dance, taught us to laugh at all their functions and acts that they put on. And Mavis Bryan, they were 1954. They were settled on Hossick Road as well. We came from the South Island, and the Bryans came from the South Island, and not too far from us. You came from the South Island too, Jean? Yes. It's an interesting story as to where everybody came from, and they all came into the valley, and they became family straight away. And my dad, Mr. Ed, was often around at the Bryan household having a yarn. We also have a huge list of apologies. Lots of apologies from the people who were with us last year at the reunion. It's just too many to remember, but we will reply to all those and pass on a copy of the program for today. It's now my pleasure to introduce you to Teresa Top, the current principal, headmistress of Waikite Valley School. One interesting fact, is the most recent new entrant at Waikite Valley School is Keanu Hossack. Just started last week. Only been with the school for a week. Yep. Amazing. Keanu is a grandson of Jim's, great grandson of Jim Senior. Thank you.
So as Stewart said, I'm the current principal of the school, and I guess when they invited me to talk, I thought maybe it would be interesting to talk about what we do at the school now. And those of you who have attended or sort of know what the school was like back then may sort of do a bit of comparison. Some of it will still be the same, I know. So our school is part of a proud rural community, predominantly made up of dairy farmers and lifestyle blocks. We're fortunate that the community is very supportive with a strong parent base. At the heart of the valley is the school. We currently have a roll of 61 students in 4 classrooms, and we have 6 teachers across the school, including myself. There's a full-time teacher aide, a part-time caretaker cleaner, and an after-school supervisor. The school is governed by our board of trustees, who are elected every 3 years from nominated members in the community, and it's their responsibility to make sure the school's meeting its legal requirements, but foremost, they ensure that the kids are being given their best opportunities to make progress in student achievement. So our vision is that in partnership with our community, we aim to develop each student for life using high quality learning opportunities pitched to the individual's needs. Our whakatauki, which we have just had for the last 2 years, Putu atu ki te pai maunga o Pairoa, says that we're located at the foot of the Pairoa Ranges. Our logo depicts our geographic position, and the pines dominate our landscape and they're breathtaking on a clear day. Last year we surveyed our community and we were told that what is most valued at the school is the teachers, the small class sizes, where we are as a rural community, the fact that we reinforce good values and we have the values displayed around the school, they're taught in the classrooms. We aim for our kids to be proud, enthusiastic, respectful, caring, confident and curious. There's a real sense of belonging at the school, a family feel. There's close links between the staff and the families of the kids. Our parents and community are well informed and we regularly communicate all kinds of things that go on in the school. Another thing that's really highly valued is the one-to-one teacher time, and that's due to the low student ratios. There's a friendly environment and a broad range of learning opportunities. We do kapa haka, we do camp every year. There's a lot of sports, music tuition, swimming lessons, there's different languages, and we do science specialist teaching. As well as working on the basics, a traditional reading, writing and arithmetic, some of the ideas that underpin our teaching and learning are based on key theories, such as building the kids' learning power, mindfulness and well-being, with elements of meditation, yoga, mental health, and giving calmness to our classrooms to give us the space to think and act well. We work collaboratively within the school and between other local schools. All of these things lock into the school vision that we're trying to build learners for life. At Waikite Valley School, we believe that the kids learn best when they're given foundational learning skills of numeracy and literacy, when they're actively involved in their goal setting and encouraged to take responsibility for their own learning. Our students' beliefs, opinions and ideas are valued. They're taught in a safe, caring, positive environment and given powerful, authentic, cooperative inquiry learning experiences that caters to a wide range of learning styles. The kids at Waikite Valley School experience success. They're encouraged to think deeply, and to reflect on their learning and to take risks. They're challenged to be the best they can be. This year, we've also facilitated an evening course for board members, staff and community to learn basic te reo, tikanga and the geography of our whenua. This is held on Monday evenings with Mātua Grant and will end in a trip to the local marae, or haki. The current challenge for our school is to maintain our school role and ensure that the students attend our school from when they're 5 to when they're 13 years old. This is what will ensure that schools like ours thrive and continue to provide quality learning opportunities where every student's valued and where they're supported on their learning journey to be successful, positive and challenged to dream big and achieve well and do what it takes. Thank you. Some of the students have prepared speeches that they wanted to give today. They're only quite short, but it'll give you a sense of what they value about the school.
Good afternoon, my name is Gabrielle Mara. I'm a Year 6 at Waikite Valley School. As part of our studies this term, we studied the Waikite Valley hot pools. We will share some of the work and history with you. In the early settlers arrived in Waikite Valley, boiling water was a naturally available resource, as was cold water. At the junction of the Waikite Creek between Tokyo and Cool Roads, a farm track became a highway for locals to swim and bathe. Over the years, the small creek has turned into a research some of our local history and Good afternoon, my name is Abby Johnson and I'll share a little more of our research findings. Following the development of the shrub of the hotwood by the community, a domain board was formed and land was obtained from the government for Waikite Valley Domain and the Thermal Reserve. In the 1970s, development of both was done by volunteer settlers with technical and financial assistance from the county council. The original Hongkong complex was opened in 1972. Later additions were made by the lessees in the 1990s. Thermal pools were able to be phased out. My family has a family pass to the hospital to go as often as we can. I am so grateful that this resource has established as now we all get to benefit from the work of our local hot pools.
Hi, my name is Tegan. I'm 10 years old and I've been at the school for my whole school life. One of my values at the school is all the sporting events we have been to, like Cluster Cross Country, the Amazing Race, Cluster Swimming Sports, Cluster Athletics, and we also do events like motocross, which I did. Before all of this happens, we have a school band. I love doing all these things. I am very sporty, and for our school to do this, I value it. My other value is all the support I have in my learning. Like Miss Curtis with STEPS, which is a reading program, via Sharon who helped me read too. Also all the teachers I have had over the years, which are Miss Dinning, Miss Bowman, Miss Pearson, Miss Top and Miss Mitchell. These are very good teachers. Some are still here, but some are dead. I think the school has grown. I've not been here from the start, but I think it's a school that is a
Hi, my name is Eilish. I'm 10 years old and I I have been at this school since I was 5. One of the values that I love at this school is the camps we go on at the start of the year. I love how we would never know which camp we were going to until we got the forms. We would always wake up in the morning, go have breakfast after room duties, and just walk all through breakfast explaining what we did the day before and what we can't wait to do. Camps are always organised by the teachers. All the kids should be very grateful for the things the teachers organise and do for us. We should also thank the parents for all their help on camp and also transport to all of our fun events. Our teachers are very good at finding new ways to fundraise for the school and are also good at getting money from the fundraisers. They managed to get us things like a school van, classroom renovations, and new furniture for the classes. Mrs. Top is also very good at getting grants for the school. Overall, I think our school is great and will be here for many years to come.
Good afternoon and welcome to Waikite Valley School. My name is Reg Fanner and I'm 11 years old. And my family have lived in the valley for over 7 years. And I've attended this school since I was 5. One of my fond memories of Waikite was when I was 5 at winter sports. Winter sports is held at Riverah Primary. There are multiple activities that the schools in our class participate in. One of the things that I value at Waikite is the opportunities that we get. For example, a few weeks ago, we got a band kit. It has given my class an opportunity to learn new instruments, and we've also been learning about different styles of song, like classical. I feel Waikite Valley School has given me a great start to life, and I look forward to all the opportunities I will have at the school. Good afternoon. My name is Daniel Muller. I am 12 years old and I live on one of the settlers' farms just behind us. I am going to share about what the school has now and what is different to when the school first started. One of the things that stood out to me was technology difference. We have a lot of technology at our school now because our world is evolved around it and everyone uses it. Another thing that I think is different is that we do te reo Māori. The Mātua grant comes in on Mondays and takes each class for kākatea. This is when it teaches us our pepeha and mihi, how to introduce ourselves in Māori and talk about our family and where we are from. We also do kapa haka, where we learn waiata songs and haka, which we perform at the Waikite School's festival. This is our 7th year at school by Mātua grant. We are very proud of this and are grateful for this opportunity to learn about the Māori culture. Since I'm a year 8 at the school, it means that this year will be my last, and I'm very fortunate that the school does lots of trips, like the Christchurch trip. I'm also grateful that there is such a good graduate pathway class that has taught me a lot of life skills that will hopefully get me through college next year and the years to come.
Good afternoon, my name is Rachel. I've gone to Waikite Valley School for all of my school life and I'm the 3rd generation to come. In 1952, my great-grandparents moved to Waikite Valley, Joyce and Roy Stevens. Joyce had picked out 3 oak trees chosen for their shape to plant on their property. When the drop-off area was put in at school, Roy thought it would look nice to have a tree and chose one of the oak trees that Joyce had picked out and planted it at the school.
Very much students of Waikite Valley School. It's very, very encouraging for all of us to have you here with us. We know that our future is in good hands. I'm getting a bit thin on top. It shows through on a few others amongst us as well. Teresa has been a stalwart in what we've been achieving here today. It's amazing how it's worked out. The children have had a request to know about this and know about that, and we've been able to pass that on, so it's been quite appropriate, particularly with our memorial now. I have some other families to introduce who were settlers after those early 50s ones. I'm looking around, Margaret Hayes, sitting in the back, settled up Ueda Road. We've got David, Merle, Janet, settled up Rural Plate Road, our neighbours. There's a few other, John and Marion Sandry out the back, old established farmers now in the Waikite Valley. Ron Palmer is with us here today. We certainly appreciate your presence. And the best is always for last. The best's up Tikopia Road, Murray and Lynn Best. Murray and Lynn were settled in 1980, part of the civilian settlement. 82 was it? Thank you. They keep an eye on me, keep me on the straight and narrow. I've got to watch out for all the road, I know that. The other, to follow on from Rachel, we have Judy Teague, who was Judy Stevens, sitting right here in the front row. And they came in, still living in the valley. They came in 1952. Yes, Roy and Joyce. Yeah, yes. Rachel hasn't joined us. Anybody else that I need to? I would now ask for Bruce Hunter to come forward. I haven't actually met Bruce, but Bruce is here from Landcorp.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
I was approached a couple of months ago by Murray to come and say a few words today. Actually, I was asked for some money for the bulldozer to start off with. To say a few words. And he told me to be very brief, and after his presentation, I thought, okay, I felt like the guy in the third row. So, for those who don't know, Landcorp is just an extension of Lands and Surveys. We were established in 1984 Lands and Surveys business. And I talked to Murray and I said, look, I'm quite happy to wave the flag today, but I don't know a lot about the project that happened here back in the 50s. It seems quite uncanny when I rang around my corporate colleagues, the memory of this project has been lost to our culture. And what's really uncanny is that we've got a very simple project, which I'm operating now just around the corner, where we're bringing 15,000 hectares of forestry back into land. So I'm very familiar with the type of project that the forefathers had to operate here in the 50s. However, I had the stories today of some of the hardship that we suffered. We only work 50-hour weeks and we've got 300 horsepower tractors. And I'm looking at the hills behind me here and I'm looking at that bulldozer, and boy, they must have been pretty long days. One of the roles that I had in Landcorp when I was based down in Wellington, I was the national leader for dairy. And I got to get around the country, right down from the far south to the far north, and every sort of settlement that I went on to, I saw relics from days gone by, from the Lands and Surveys. And on my desk, I had the old tombola, and I didn't actually know what it was, but it was the tombola and the balls were drawn out from where people got their block of land or not. And I thought I had that on my desk 2 years without actually knowing what that was, and yet the fate of so many people came out of that poverty. So we're still the largest farmer in the country. We're 800 employees, 130 farms. We've grown the balance sheet from $400 million in 1982 to about $1.7 billion today. And whilst that sounds big, it pales in comparison to what was achieved by Lands and Surveys. 24,500 ballot blocks were settled within this country. It was huge. So many families have been brought onto the land to make this the country it is today. And I look at the land that we're working now, which is just raw pumice. This is what this was in the 1950s. And it's become one of the breadbaskets of the world. So you look at the contribution of small communities like this, you know, it's been a huge contribution to the whole country and has actually made us one of the wealthiest countries in the world. So the people of the local community can actually be really, really proud. So thanks for asking me along, Murray. I'm happy to be part of the contribution. I absolutely love that all day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Certainly appreciate it. We're very grateful for the donation of $500. While we're talking about Lands and Survey, we still have our Waikite Lands and Survey block here in the valley, and the stalwart of it have been the Bedfords. We have Roger and Lois here with us today. They are in there. Can we call it retired now, Roger? Still here in the valley. And Murray tells me that Roger's father was, in discussing about it with Roger, he was the assistant commissioner in Rotorua.
And I don't want to.
You can.
I was managing Hawaii, and I've been through all this shit you get when you first start, and I was kind of getting on top of it, and then my supervisor, he left, Andy Anderson left and drew a farm up by Wanamata, and I got a call from Lloyd Bedford, and he said, "Oh, I've been looking for a block to supervise." I thought, "Oh no, please," because you know all the paddock diaries have to be right and everything, and I thought, "Oh no, not him." And he was fantastic. He really, honestly was. Anything I wanted, Lloyd gave me. It was just fantastic. And when we finished the Pawadi and bought our farm in Taupo, he was there when we left, and he came and visited us. And I wrote to him when he was in the old people's home up in Whangarei, and he wrote back, and it was so nice. But anyway, it's a pleasure to have known him.
Thank you, Murray. It's been a pleasure to have Roger and Lois in the district, and they stalwarts of the squash club. And their son, Paul, competed in the Masters Games in Auckland just recently and won the gold medal in his class. And they are the backbone, have been the backbone of the squash club in the district. Okay, we're getting closer to the end. Morris looking at his watch. They're going to join me up here, and we just want to acknowledge, firstly, that the booklet is available to purchase as a Waikite Valley School fundraiser. There's plenty of them. If anybody ever is around and wants to pop into the school, that they would happily pass one to you. The donations have, as we have, Delwyn's going to cover it a bit further, but from our reunion last year, the people have just come forward. It's just what we do in Waikite Valley. All the amenities that have been done in Waikite Valley have come from those first 7 settlers, all voluntary labour. The list goes on and on. If you look around, we haven't had anybody else that's given us much money. It's all been given by the settlers and by the people who are here and now. Same at the school, everybody puts their hand in their pocket. And we are particularly grateful for the donations that we have received from the people. And there will be a stage 2. We're going to follow up this with I've estimated the number of farms that were settled in Waikite Valley at close to 90 farms were settled. We want to work with the community to put up a display board and etc. for the map, etc., to recognise the settlers that came after the first settlement. When we were doing this project, we had endless debate about what it should be, what the wording should be, and it was the most difficult task to get the wording that we put on the plaque. And we discussed as to what the name should be, and that was controversial as well as to whether they should or shouldn't be there. But they were the first settlers, and we were inspired by them. They were here to welcome us when we came, and as you've heard today, the people came from all over New Zealand. The Graham family came from Canterbury. My dad was North Canterbury, my mum was South Canterbury. And we were accepted into the Waikite Valley family straight away. I'll hand over to Delvin.
Mine was very short. There was just one thing I wanted to clarify. Is this the tree that Mr. Stevens was claiming got? This tree? One stone. This is the one. Mine is very quick. I was just going to share with you how this whole thing started. There was a small group of us at Rolly Burling's funeral in November 2014, and he was the last of the first 7 settlers to pass away. And we decided we'd like to get together, but it not be a funeral, and because we all just, as soon as we were together, we're like family again, and we don't see enough of each other. So we started working out when we'd do it, and it grew to 85 people wanting to get together from 12. And it took us, we ended up having to form a committee. So it was Stewart and Carol and Norris Wiseman and myself. And we ended up, it morphed into a 3-day event last Anzac weekend. It was wonderful. We did all kinds of things. And out of that we had a surplus of funds, so we consulted with all of those people, and it was decided we would like to have some kind of memorial here in Waikite Valley. We didn't have quite enough funds, so we had to see if there were other people who'd like to contribute. We, like Stewart said, we're very grateful for the contributions, and I want to acknowledge that there were people who contributed who have actually left the district long ago and still got in touch and contributed. Even one from Australia, which was just amazing. I think it's really, so as Stewart said, we have another stage which will be a whole new venture. But what's so special today is that this links all of those first settlers right through all of the settlers from the Ballot Farms and today's families. It's a link of all of us together, so we're very, very thrilled about that. So Carol's got some as well.
Oh, look, I just very, very short and very simple. I'd just like to thank each and every one of you coming today to today's celebration to make this celebration even more special. And it is just so wonderful to see so many grandchildren and great-grandchildren here to honour your grandparents and great-grandparents. Even though some of us only lived here for 15 to 20 years, the bond the early settlers had has continued on to the next generation. And that's pretty cool. Waikite Valley will always hold treasured memories in our hearts. And to Delwyn, Stewart, Norris and Murray, your input in organising last year's reunion and today's memorial is memorable. So thank you, thank you.
As I've said, Murray and I talk for many a long day about, and we go back to my dad trying to persuade Murray to buy this farm at Taupo. Murray, no, he didn't want to have a bar of it. Family that were settled there were friends of ours from Oxford and Canterbury. And there's a last straw, I think they took him down and they got him to go out to the back paddock, which the back paddock of the farms in those days was always a wild patch of bush, covered with fern and stuff, and full of rag water. Didn't matter which farm it was. And there was some deer in there. He bought it straight away. But we appreciate your contribution, Murray. Murray has done the handcrafted, and I'm sure if Curly Elmerger was here, he would give it an A+. It is amazing. So thank you one and all for being here today, and let's get over to the hall and have something to get into some more. Have a tea. If anybody wants to photograph us, go to it. We're thinking about a group photo of everybody. I think we've got everybody covered. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being with us. And have a safe journey home.